Welcome back to the Empire Builders podcast. Dave Young here, along with Stephen Semple. And what Steve told me is that it's a little bit different episode today. We're not talking about the building of an empire, but the saving of the Lego empire. Right? It was already an empire,
Yep,
and as empires sometimes do, I guess starting to collapse.
yep, yeah.
And then something happened.
Here's the thing that's remarkable. According to studies I've come across, when companies go through the type of challenge that Lego faced, only literally 1 in 10 survive it.
Ugh,
Most businesses do not survive it, and they not only survived, they went from being I think they were the 3rd largest toy manufacturer to after facing this crisis, they became the largest toy manufacturer in the world. So
wow.
not
Okay.
only did they survive, they thrived. And today they employ over 30,000 people. They have over 1,000 stores. And you can learn more about the early days of Lego by going back to another episode, episode 28. Can you
Mm-hmm.
believe it was 28? We did it in the first year of
Wow.
the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. But in early 2000, like they literally almost went out of business. They were facing a moment where they literally it was unclear whether they were gonna survive, and they were even in conversations to sell to other toy manufacturers. They were
Okay.
even in conversations with Mattel.
Can I because I don't know exactly how this went, but I can hazard a guess
Mhm.
that the pivot they were able to make was to just start prepackaging kits and licensing things from movies and other things, other toys, because that seems to be like when I was a kid, I had Legos,
Yep,
but man, if you wanted to build something specific, you had to come up with that yourself, right? There
yep.
was no kit that made a battleship or a Star Wars fighter or anything like that. Um, you were lucky if you had a couple of the little window things and maybe 1 or 2 little figures, but that was about it.
Ironically, it's part of what saved them, but also part of what almost killed them.
Oh, okay.
So it's kinda interesting. So
Alright, I'm leaning in.
yes, we go back to 1997, and basically sales had started to stall in 93. And so
Hmm.
they were looking for, other ways to grow the business because video games were coming in, all this other things
Uh-huh.
were going on. And in 1997, Peter Eos is an executive with Lego. And what he's noticed, because he's working in the US market, he's seen a trend in the toy business where half of the toys in the US are being sold under licensing deals. So he puts together a deal with Lucasfilms to do Star Wars. And at first, Lego's really hesitant because they've never, first of all, done a licensing. Their real hesitation is the lightsaber and blasters and the fact that it involves weapons.
Okay.
Because Lego was always committed to there would never be any violent use of the toys.
They're peaceful,
Yeah.
Scandinavians.
Company's being run by Geo Kirk Christensen, who's a family member and the grandson of the founder. They do some focus groups and they come around to it because the evidence is that parents don't associate Star Wars with violence. So this wins over the execs. And while it's a departure from the past, they decide to do this licensing deal, and Lego Star Wars is born. And because, they wanted to do this. Now, 1998 was actually their first ever loss. And Christensen steps down and Paul Hoagman comes on the board because he did a big turnaround in Bang& Olufsen, and he does an analysis of the decline. What they believe at this point is children are playing with things differently. They want computer games. They don't want to build toys. They just want to open up a box and play. His belief is the strength is no longer in the brick, it's in the name, the Lego brand. And he wants to extend the brand to other things, go beyond the brick, right? Now, what's really funny is whenever companies want to do this expansion of the brand, it's amazing how often it doesn't work. There's a really famous book, 22 Immutable Laws of Branding, and in several of the chapters are don't extend the brand. It's like when Gerber wanted to make adult food. Like,
Yeah, nobody wants that.
right. It's like, well, we
Yeah.
make food, we can make it for adults, right? It's like, no, you can't. It's baby food. So anyway, they come up with lots of new ideas. They want to do a Lego Parkland in California, which is a $130 million investment. They plan on doing parks every 2 years. They want to do a chain of stores, mimic Disney. Now, the Star Wars tie-in is a huge success. It sells 200 million and it exceeds expectations by like 500%. And it takes them almost back to profit. The problem is it's not quite as profitable because of all the licensing fees. But they want to build on that success. They do a Harry Potter. They develop another tie-in with a Spielberg movie maker set, which comes with a camera and does stop motion. What's really incredible with that is one of our business partners, Gary Bernier's, his two boys, Dylan, who's now a partner, when they were kids, they had that. And they did a ton of these stop motion animation things that they posted all over YouTube and whatnot. But anyway, and they decide to open up design labs around the world to come up because they're looking for these blue ocean opportunities. Now, one of the
Mhm.
things they kill was Duplo, which is big bricks for little kids
Right.
because they fear kids aren't going to be interested in that. Electronics is going to take over. They rework Lego Explorer to not be based upon bricks. They buy a tech startup because they want to tie bricks into what's happening on the screen that they shut down after 3 years. So basically, in 2001, they developed all these new products and sales are up 17%, but they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars because of all this money that's being spent on innovation. Now, the best revenue are products with tie ins because kids love playing with things with stories, right?
Mhm.
So, your point, I bet it has to do with these tie ins, which they did have sales success from that, but they're low on revenue because all the licensing things. So here's what Lego decides to do. And this is where the problem starts. They decide to create their own stories. So they create an
Okay.
action figure, Jack Stone. He's larger and it's a simpler set. This belief that kids into video games don't want to build complicated worlds. That's the belief of Lego.
Okay.
Now, here's the mistake. You know who they never spoke to? Was someone who freaking designs games. If they talked
Yeah.
to a game designer, what they would have actually learned is no, people do want complicated things.
Mhm.
So they also create this other world, Galador, which is no bricks and snaps together body parts, but feels more like Transformers. And they decide to market using a TV show. Now, marketing a game using a TV show is not a new idea. It's done by
Right.
Transformers, was done by He-Man. But you know what Transformers and He-Man did is they brought in comic book folks like Marvel to help them with it. Instead, Lego hires a Hollywood producer. They create this live action show. It's fall 2002. They release it, but there's this problem. First of all, the show's not very exciting, but secondly, retailers are not sure where to put the toy. Is it an action figure or is it a building toy?
Yeah.
And kids don't like Jack Stone because for kids who like building, it's too simple. And for kids who like action figures, there's not enough action. It's that
Okay.
classic, I'm going to try to appeal to both of
Mhm.
these people and go into the middle. And what always happens when we go into the middle, Dave? Never
Nothing
works.
usually. Yeah.
Right. So then they launched Galador, which has got these big special effects and it's high cost and it's a poor story. It's mainly an ad.
Mm.
And they were so convinced it was gonna be a hit that they flood the shelves with this stuff, and both struggle. The warehouse is full of stock. Christmas 2002 is terrible. The theme parks are losing money. They
Mm.
bring in this consultant, Neustrup, who's a consultant from McKinsey, and he digs into the state of Lego. And in June of 2003, basically, he reports things are worse than everybody expects. Lego may not survive the next 2 years.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
Hey, Rick, I'm glad we got out again.
Yeah,
What's going on?
my digital advertising's got more expensive and it doesn't seem to be working as well.
I see.
Nice drive, by the way.
So?
I don't know how I'm going to keep growing. I feel like I'm going sideways, flattening out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you speak to Steven?
You mean this podcast host?
Yep.
Not yet.
Do you like going sideways?
No. I want to be growing.
Well,
Starter session.
yep.
5 iron?
Sure. Oh, and you can book your free starter session on this podcast website.
Your turn, Dave.
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
And in June of 2003, basically, Neustrup reports things are worse than everybody expects. Lego may not survive the next 2 years because there's also no new movies. One of the things they did not anticipate when they did the movie tie-ins, sales drop when there's no new movie.
Right.
And they had been losing money even when sales were good. It's now November 2003. It's a critical Christmas coming up. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. They're losing $1 million a day, and they do not even know what products make money. They've been doing so much innovation. The finances are a mess.
Wow, losing 1,000,000 a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's February 2004. They've just come off of another bad Christmas, and they still got failed toys from previous years. And 2003 is the worst results in the company's history, and projections for 2004 is even worse. They start talking to Mattel about selling. They have
Okay.
one last attempt to turn things around. 2004, and it's a New York toy show. Things did not go well because, again, there's still these unsold toys. But here's one of the
Yeah.
things they discover. There was one new toy that was doing well, Bionicle.
Okay.
It had did 140 million in the first year, and they had not been able to keep up on demand because instead of doubling down on Bionicle, they did Jack Stone,
Mm.
right? And so Newstorp is on a flight back from New York, and the man sitting next to him is Chris Zuck, who's a consultant from Bain, who wrote a book about innovation called Profit from the Core. Now, what Profit from the Core is all about is that most businesses become successful by focusing on the core customer. And he had a rule of thumb, a new territory. You should only open up a new territory every 5 years or so because you cannot learn a new market in less time than that.
Mm. Okay.
And what Newstarp realizes is they've been doing way too much innovation. Look at how much innovation I listed off that they're doing all at the same time, none of which was leveraging what was actually great about Lego. They're trying to do 5 markets in a year, not a new market every 5 years. So he immediately cancels the failing toys, goes back to Duplo, closes the design labs, reviews the pieces, finds they had too many unique pieces, spins off
Mm.
Legoland, and goes out and spends time with kids in their homes,
Wow, okay. That's a smart move.
right? And you know what he learns? Kids value mastery. They actually like building things.
Mhm.
Surprise. He also, for the first time ever, there's this thing called Brickfest, which is this huge thing where adults, show off their brick building. He goes to Brickfest for the first time. And this is where the enthusiasts are
For the first time.
for the first time.
You'd think they'd have a booth.
Right. Right, and they come up with this idea that enthusiasts can start to suggest an idea, and if they do the idea, the enthusiast gets a piece of the revenue,
There you go.
right? So they go back to Bionicles and lean back into this. Now, the one thing that they do create is they do create one new thing called Ninjago because it's really interactive and the ninjas fight on these spinners and they decide to create a show to promote it. But guess what they do this time? They collaborate with the Cartoon Network, people
There
who
they
know how
go.
to tell stories for kids.
Mhm.
And all of these things brings back Lego not only to success, but to being the world's largest toy manufacturer. So yes, they still do the movie tie-ins for sure,
On those?
but they own Ninjago, right? They own Bionicles. They now have got these enthusiasts creating ideas like we should show a way of making Lego that where you can make flowers and the
Well,
Eiffel
I was
Tower
gonna
and all
say,
this other stuff.
you can do things where you don't have to give away royalties,
Right.
right? So, for some reason, one of our daughters bought my wife, a set of Lego flowers.
Yes.
They're half assembled sitting on our dining room table. My wife's fingers and hands get a little tired trying to work with them, and I could put I need to just go put them together and put them in a vase, I suppose. But th there
Well,
they sit. But
it
again, like, here we are in our 60s, and
yep.
we have some, unfinished Lego business sitting on our kitchen table,
Well,
and not a child in sight to assemble it.
1 year for mourning, I bought, orchid she loves orchids, and I bought the orchid Lego, and on Mother's Day, we put it together.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and it and you know what? You know the nice thing is they still look nice.
Yeah, you don't even have to water it.
But
You
but
could
what I
probably throw it
also
in the dishwasher.
But here's the crazy thing, adults spend way more on Lego than kids, and no one had ever gone out and visited the adult market and said, "Wow, what would adults like to build?" "Oh, they like to build lighthouses and the Eiffel Tower and the Empire
Yeah.
State Building," and it uses the same damn bricks, and we could put together a box of that for people. This is how
Yeah.
out of touch they became with their customers. And they thought, even the kids, kids want it to be simpler. Oh, they want it to be simpler. No, they don't. They didn't
Yeah.
want it to be simpler.
They want it to be
So
fun and challenging even. Yeah.
internally, there's a bunch of things they need to fix. They had way too
Mhm.
many bricks. They had one point they had 10 chefs and they cut it back down to one. So yes, internally there's a bunch of efficiencies that they did. But the turnaround, the real core to the turnaround was going back to their customer,
Yeah.
the kids and the enthusiasts, and
Mhm.
saying, what is it that what do you want?
Yeah.
And becoming true to that. And then even when they decide to create their own thing, they didn't repeat the mistake of the past of hiring a Hollywood producer. They did a collaboration with the Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Yeah, smart. I'm glad that they saved it.
So am I. And when I was doing the research on this, it was literally it was almost like when Steve Jobs came back to Apple
Yeah.
and was basically told, this company's got 6 months to survive. They were
Yeah.
literally, if they had had another bad Christmas, they were done.
Yeah.
They were done.
Well, cool. The Lego story.
Not only did they come back, they came back stronger and grew to becoming the largest toy business on the planet. So I thought it was kind of cool. But when struggling, you got to go back to your customer. What's your core customer and what does your core customer want?
Yeah, always sound advice. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
bringing us the Lego story.
All right. Awesome.
The Lego rebuild story,
The
part
Lego,
2.
that's it. That's it. Back to the brick.
Uh-huh. Thanks, Stephen.
All right. Thanks, David.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.